July when she was apprehended at her New Hampshire hideout. She was found with 3 passports and an allegedly used alias Jen Marshall. Maxwell will remain behind bars for another year potentially until her case goes to trial, which is expected in July of 2021, so a year from now. One of Epstein's accusers sent in an anonymous statement to the court today saying, without Ghislaine, Jeffrey would not have been able to do what he did. She has nothing to lose, no remorse. Criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Mark Eiglarsh joins me now. Mark, good to see you tonight.
Nice to see you, Martha.
You thought they were going to let her out on a high bond.
I thought there was a chance. I thought because of COVID, we're seeing a lot of people where it's kind of discretionary. Judges saying, all right, we'll double the bond. But I'm glad the judge did let her out. I'm part of the public. I'm not defending her, right? I'm part of the public, and she is a flight risk. She goes to France. They're not going to extradite her back. She's a citizen of France. She's got the financial means to take off and flee, like so many people do not. She's got the cash. And also, you mentioned some of those things in the opening. The other thing is, she's got a compelling case against her. I watched a documentary where they showed these victims and how credible and believable they appear. And while she enjoys the presumption of innocence in court, in the court of public opinion, I'm glad she's in.
Yeah,
she's going to jail.
The conspiracy to enticement of a minor to travel to engage in illegal sex acts, that's up to 20 years potentially. And the accounts in the documentary, the Netflix documentary, which you mentioned, which I've also seen, that's what these girls are saying. That she basically lured them, you're going to get on the plane, you're going to go to the Caribbean. Then once they got there, she was like, you're going to go over here and meet with this man. Very specific in terms of those accounts. But I was surprised that there aren't any sexual abuse charges in here, because some of those young women, and perhaps not the ones who are involved in this case, did claim that she also sexually abused them.
Look, I trust prosecutors. I know that they considered everything and went with the charges that they thought would be the strongest choice for them. And here's the other thing. The more that she learns about the prosecution's case, the more she's going to be concerned about the prospect of conviction and spending decades in prison. And that's why I'm glad the judge didn't let her out today. Now the judges have to keep their eye on her. I'm concerned about that.
She's being held at the same place where Jeffrey Epstein took his own life, and the reports are that they basically removed everything from her. They gave her paper clothes because they're very concerned that she is a suicide risk.
She'll find a way. 2 words, El Chapo. El Chapo. And while that wasn't in a U.S. jail, they knew he had escaped. He still got away. And what's interesting is El Chapo's prosecutor is one of her lawyers.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
What a story. Joe, thank you very much. Mark Eiglarsh, thanks for being here tonight.
Hillary's going to get her.
Epstein, but there is no Jeffrey Epstein. There is no sex trafficking ring. None of these things happened without Ghislaine Maxwell. She was the boss of the house. She was the chief of staff. She recruited the young girls. She groomed them. She made them comfortable with the idea of having sex with Jeffrey Epstein. And that is what the 2 women who are alleged victims said in court today, one by letter and the other by phone.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many accounts of women who said that, she wanted to meet their younger sister, she was going to pay for their education, then they introduced her to their younger sister, and the next thing you know, she's also been dragged into this, even to the age of 14, the youngest person. This is a statement from Jennifer Arose, who said of today's proceedings, she was one of the survivors. She says, knowing that she is incarcerated for the foreseeable future allows me and my fellow survivors to have faith that we're on the right path. And the problem is that these women have had no faith in this system because they were robbed of their opportunity to ever see this play out in court when suddenly, there was a deal made in Florida and they were cut out. They never got to testify or about anything.
They were robbed not just one time, but several times. First of all, they waited a decade or so for any sort of justice. Then came the not-prosecution agreement, which to this day nobody understands. We're waiting for an explanation from Mr. Acosta, the U.S. Attorney at the time. Then came the arrest of Jeffrey Epstein and his suicide, which short-circuited any sort of
quote-unquote suicide.
Court. And now we're here one more time. And you bet these women are frustrated. We've talked to many of them, and it's been a long, long haul.
Casey, Frank, thank you very much. We're
It's
follow
gonna be
this
the
case
latest
closely.
on the
I
Clinton
appreciate your
body
time,
count.
Casey.
Keeps on ticking.